What's going on, everyone? This is Christian Duke from StrengthAddicts.com, and today I want to talk about 3 feuds on YouTube. Vegan Gains versus Scot Mendelson, Vegan Gains versus Mark Lobliner, and Vegan Gains versus Jason Blaha. Now, Jason Blaha, let's start with him. I think he's a bald troll. I hate the fact that he calls out people that he doesn't think are natural bodybuilders based on bizarre measurements and skin ratios and just basically his own ignorance. He called out Mike O'Hearn, who I think is one of the greatest natural bodybuilders of all times, has never failed a drug test in his whole career, is a 4-time natural Mr. Universe. I don't have a lot of respect for this Jason Blaha guy. He has a pitiful physique. He thinks he's really tough. Listen, I'm not a tough guy. I've gotten my ass kicked many occasions. I'm not scared of an ass kicking, but I don't walk around saying, well, because I'm 6'5" and I weigh 355 pounds, you should be scared of me, or come say it to my face, or what you're going to do about it. What you going to do when Hulkamania runs wild on you, brother? I don't talk like that because, I'm not a punk-ass bitch. But the thing is, he likes to say shit like, come say it to my face, or whatever. I don't know. I think he's like an MMA guy or something like that. Reality of it is that he calls out people that I respect, and Mike O'Hearn is one of those people that has gone out of his way to help out so many people and is a great guy and really shapes lives. And anyways, it's not about Mike O'Hearn, but I just don't like Jason Blaha, and I think that I didn't know that he was a vegan before, and I think the fact that he now eats meat and has some of the points he makes are absolutely insanely stupid. So I totally give it to Vegan Gains on that one. He totally wiped the floor with Jason Blaha. As far as Mark Lobliner from the Tiger Fitness, one thing that Vegan Gains did that I don't like is that he talked about Mark's family. I don't think that Mark is very protective over his family, as am I, as I'm sure you are as well, you at home. But I think what happened was Vegan Gains mentioned the fact that Mark's diet was not a good one, and that he would leave his kids fatherless and his wife widowed or whatever. I don't know, something along those lines. Just a real shitty thing to say. And even though he didn't directly attack his family, he mentioned them. And I don't think that anyone, for any reason, should be mentioning, another YouTuber or another bodybuilder or powerlifter's family, because I just think that is just really low class, and I think it's just not just not cool, man. It's not cool. It's low class. It's actually pretty fucked up, in fact. So I think that Vegan Gains lost some points there with me with that. But as far as Mark's rebuttal, a lot of the things that he said really were very weak. Mark, his whole approach, his pec bouncing and I don't know. He's just the thing I don't like about Mark is that he's clearly in his 30s, 40s, I think, and he's really trying to hold on to sort of like this protracted adolescence. He's really trying to hold on to things that young people are saying, and he wants to be hip, and he's not a tall guy at all. I think he's 5'4" or something like that, or 5'5". Maybe he's taller, I don't know. But again, I'm 6'5", and I've seen him at the Arnold a couple times, and we took a picture together at not this last Arnold, but the one before. He's really short. So I just think that the height and the fact that he sounds like an old person using young person's lines, and the whole thing with the family and the whole thing with being Jewish. Again, I'm Hispanic. I don't go around saying people look at me funny when I talk on the phone to my parents, or there's xenophobia and bigotry. I don't do that because I think that's I don't know. I just think that's weak, and I think he was trying to say, I'm Jewish. If you come at me, if you're a Nazi or whatever, I've been through so much, and I'll fight for my people. It just is very I don't know. It's very lean on me. Only he's not a black principal in the projects. He's a Jewish guy in a mansion, and he's doing really well. And I didn't even know he was Jewish until he mentioned it. So again, it's just a very weak type response. Now, so I give it to Vegan Gains on that one too. Just Vegan Gains, don't fuck with people's families. Don't talk about people's families. Don't even think about people's families, because people's families are totally sacrosanct. They shouldn't even be a blip on the radar. If you got a problem with Mark, keep it with Mark. If you got a problem with Jason Blaha, keep it with Jason Blaha. Do not talk about wives or kids or grandparents, aunts and uncles, godparents. Don't talk about any of them, because in any way, shape, or form, because honestly, it's just low class. It's not cool, and it's pretty condemnable. I don't know if that's a word, but I'm going to say it's condemnable. Now, Scot Mendelson gave it right back to Vegan Gains. They both called each other idiots. Scott Mendelson used the whole angle that if you don't eat meat, you're basically a pussy or a vagina. I don't know what he said. Or I don't even know if he said it, but that was the implication that I got out of it. He basically was like one of these people saying, toughen up. Like if you're going to eat meat, you got to toughen up and eat meat. And this is how the world works. It's about survival, which it really isn't, because in all honesty, I mean, this is not Robinson Crusoe. We're not like, shipwrecked on some island somewhere and we've got just muskrats and rodents and sardines to eat. I mean, there's a ton of plant-based alternatives, nuts, seeds, legumes, leafy green vegetables, which are loaded with iron and amino acids, and fruits and vegetables, and MCT oils and coconut oil. Coconut oil is phenomenal. Avocado, phenomenal sources of good quality fats. So again, you don't really have to eat meat. It's not about survival. The fact you eat meat or hunt doesn't mean that you're more manly or not. Size, again, I don't know if Scott's on anabolic steroids. I don't know. I would think that he would be. I would think that any power lifter or bodybuilder at that level would be, not for an edge, but simply because it's so taxing on the joints and so taxing on the body. And it's honestly lifting over 1,000 pounds on the bench press. I mean, again, to recover from that, to regenerate muscle mass, to keep muscle mass, to keep size, I feel like it's imperative to have exogenous hormones. I just don't believe it's possible to do it naturally. I just don't. Not at that level. And if you do think it's possible, then you're naive, because it's not. And steroids don't hurt anybody. In fact, I think you could be vegan and take them because they're exogenous synthetic hormones. So there's no animals involved. There's nothing. All they do is help people. You get a little bit of acne. Your blood pressure might go up a little bit, but that's it. I've seen people that have even been on dialysis that have used steroids to heal themselves holistically. So again, where I was going with that, yeah, Vegan Gains is really scrawny looking, possibly, but so are most natural bodybuilders. I know that's going to offend a lot of people, but the reality of it is that he's got a lean physique, he's got a good amount of muscle mass, and if he were to get on a cycle, there's no telling how big he would get. So again, I don't think that Scott Mendelson calling this guy like wimpy or saying that he doesn't have legs or whatever really is anything. Also, a lot of men's physique competitors don't have legs. A lot of them do, but a lot of them don't, because they don't get scored for them, and there's no point to having big legs. So in all honesty, if Vegan Gains walked down the beach and Scott Mendelson walked down the beach, more girls are going to go talk to Vegan Gains because he's got the physique that's more mainstream, and more guys are going to go talk to Scott Mendelson, but not guys in a sexual orientation way, but guys because they're going to want to look like him. Like Greg Valentino made that documentary years ago, and he said that a lot of women were not attracted to him, but a lot of guys would leave their wives and their girlfriends at the party, beautiful women, to go talk to Greg. It wasn't because they were hitting on him, it was because they were like just in awe of how freaky he looked, and they wanted to look like him, and they wanted nutrition advice and lifting advice. And that's probably what would happen at a beach. Guys would go to Scott and be like, how can I get stronger? How can I up my bench? How can I get this muscle mass you have? And more girls would be going up to Vegan Gains and be like, how can I fuck you? What can I do for you? Oh, you're so hot. Oh my God, I love you, blah, blah, blah. And that's just how it is. Scott would sign a lot of autographs and Vegan Gains would get laid a lot. And that's just the reality of it. Now, going back to the actual content of what they were talking about, what I don't like about Vegan Gains, though, is that Vegan Gains cites a lot of studies, and studies are really useless to me because I'm a very primitive guy in my sort of outlook on bodybuilding. I believe in whole foods. I believe in good quality supplements. I believe in water and hydration and good training and good recovery. When people start talking about studies and double-blind studies and clinical journals and this and that, it turns me off. I'm sort of a bodybuilding populist. Talk to me in terminology that I understand. Don't, over-complexify. I don't think that's a word. Don't overcomplicate things. Anybody can go get a study and study it and learn it and spit it back out and then make it conversational and then make a video. It doesn't mean that you're a scientist. It doesn't mean that you know whether you're on foot or horseback. It just means that you've mastered that particular study. Also, a lot of studies are biased. You know what I mean? If it's from a society that's backed by the dairy industry, or that's backed by the meat industry, or that's backed by a vegan institute or something like that, they're biased. And so therefore their findings, while maybe factual, are totally bunk because they're biased. Journals. Is it a journal that's accepted in that industry, like a medical journal, a dietetic journal, a psychiatric journal? Or is it basically just, some off-the-grid journal? If it's off-the-grid, it's not credible. If it's not credible, you shouldn't cite it. Is it a juried article? Did several different professionals collaborate? Did they, basically review it together and deliver opinions, or was it written by one person? So there's just so many variables. So I don't like getting into the whole citing of journals and citing of studies, especially on YouTube videos, because they hardly ever show you the citations. You just glimpse over the page. They highlight a lot. They paraphrase. They interpret. It's like statistics, Statistics is the only math where two answers are correct, and they're both totally different. I don't like that kind of presentation. Overall, though, I will also say, that I've been a lacto-ovo-vegetarian for 22 years, and I think vegans are tougher on vegetarians than they are on meat eaters. I mean, they'll say stuff to us, which is true. Like, you can't, drink dairy without supporting the meat industry. That's right, because, they impregnate these cows, they do produce milk, but then all their calves wind up as veal on your dinner plate. So, yes, and I understand that, and that's something that I have to deal with morally. Leather shoes, gelatin capsules, just a lot of things that I have to deal with morally, that vegetarians have to deal with, and we have to hear it from vegans all the time. And vegans, unfortunately for them, most vegans that I know of don't hack it for very long. They wind up eating meat immediately because they're just so strict. I think that, I look for cage-free organic eggs. I look for free-range milk. I look for milk that's not, cows that have not been given antibiotics. I look for humane farming. I'm actually a member of Humane Farming Association. I'm a member of PETA. I don't think that if a man chooses not to hunt, or that if a man chooses not to eat meat, or if a man chooses to protect animals, that he's a pussy. I think that's really stupid, and I think it's really narrow-minded. But I can see why meat eaters would do that kind of thing, certain meat eaters or certain hunting proponents, because they don't want someone like Vegan Gains to come and tell them that they're basically, amoral, and that they're murdering animals, and that they're enjoying the suffering of animals. It's just sort of, that argument by meat eaters is wrong, and the argument by vegans to meat eaters is wrong also in that sense. There are a lot of meat eaters that will buy cage-free. There are a lot of meat eaters that will buy grass-fed, free-range, that are against antibiotics, that are against veal calves living in crates their whole lives, that are against, other aspects of the dairy and egg industry. So again, the thing about it, though, is that I don't think Vegan Gains is really trying to convert people to veganism like he says he is. I think he's really trying to line his pockets with a lot of the animal suffering that he's talking about, that he's calling out. So, in that sense, I just think that, I think that Vegan Gains is a little bit of a hypocrite himself. I know he likes to call out all these other people like Mark and Scott, and he can call Jason Blaha all he wants. I really don't like that bull troll, but I understand what he's doing. But, there's a lot of hypocrisy where Vegan Gains is concerned as well. And so, I don't know how long he's been a vegan. I've been a lacto-ovo-vegetarian from 4 months before turning 15, and now it's I turned 37 in November. I might even be more than 22 years, actually. So, I don't know. I don't want to do the math right now. But I've been a vegetarian longer than I've eaten meat. And I've been an animal rights activist. I was even, for a down protest, I was a bird at a PETA rally. I was like literally in a bird outfit. I mean, I am a hardcore animal rights activist. If I see someone like shoot a deer, I'll go like, hey! Like that. Oh, sorry, Teddy. Come here, Teddy bear. I just scared my dog. But I'll do that so that the deer will run and the hunter won't get shit. And the hunter might turn his gun on me. Teddy, come here. So people don't think I'm crazy. Come here, Teddy. Come here. She doesn't like to be picked up. I don't pick her up because I can't have you guys thinking I'm nuts. Hello. Say hello. All right. So anyways, basically, I'll do that. If I used to live in an apartment complex in Lansing and people would fish, I get out there and I start throwing rocks at the water so the fishermen couldn't catch the fish. I don't give a shit. If I get my ass kicked, if I get shot, if I get beaten up, I don't care. You're not going to fish in front of me. You're not going to kill some poor venison, which is a nice word for deer. It's not going to happen. I told Branch Warren when I met him that I thought all the hunting stuff was crap, basically. You know what I mean? So, honestly, I'm not a vagina. I'm not a pussy. I'm not a sissy. I'm taller than Scott, probably way more than Scott right now. He's a hell of a lot stronger than me. A hell of a lot stronger than me. I'm not even in his zip code, but I don't think you need meat to gain muscle. I don't think you need meat to get strong. I don't think you need meat to keep size. I don't think you need meat to be a real man. But I also don't think that Vegan Muscle should call the guy an idiot or laugh at the guy for having a belly, because a belly is key in powerlifting. I don't think Vegan Gains has any right to call him out on his training. Scott Mendelson is a world record holding, world record breaking, international powerlifting god with a lowercase g, because I'm a Christian and I can't give him the uppercase g because that one belongs to him with a capital H. But Scott Mendelson is like the man. So for this scrawny, muscular, lean, muscle, scrawny guy to call out Scott Mendelson is pretty ridiculous. But as far as the debate goes, it was very entertaining, which it wasn't with Mark Lobliner because his comeback was weak. It was weaker than Van Halen 3 with Jerry Sharon from Extreme. It was that weak. It was weaker than when you found out Milli Vanilli were actually lip syncing. It was weak. It was bad. It was bad. I want my 20 minutes back. Okay. Whatever he does, yeah. And Jason Blaha is a bald troll with no arms and no physique to speak of. But Scott Mendelson did a pretty good job. So, I have to call it a draw. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up. And if you didn't, well, I'm sorry.